What's up, YouTube? I've been watching a couple of videos. I put Gennady Golovkin's, I put Golovkin in search on YouTube for last week, see what's out there. I'm a big Gennady Golovkin fan. And I just can't get over how much racism there is, okay? I want to talk about it a little. I can't understand why people refuse to acknowledge a fighter if they're not the same color skin as they are. And I'll give you a few examples, and then I'll talk about the way I think and stuff. People will say Triple G hasn't fought anybody, but if you look at the top 10 over the last 4 years, who hasn't he fought? He hasn't fought Daniel Jacobs. Daniel Jacobs is not a good fighter. He's a good cancer story, but he's not a good fighter, okay? And he's been protected. And more than likely he'll get his ass beat by Quillin, even though they're best friends. He hasn't fought Quillin because, like Jacobs, they're both with Al Haymon. Hopefully in the future, Al Haymon will buckle and realize that his formula is not working. You can't keep doing showcase fights 85% of the time. He's got to cross-promote with these other companies to get the fights that the fans want to see. Who else hasn't he fought at 160? He hasn't fought in Cotto because Cotto don't want to fight him. He hasn't fought Canelo because Canelo says he's got to grow into the weight, even though when he comes in on fight night at 175, 5 pounds over what Triple G normally comes in. But it's like, damn, man. Now everybody's saying Lower is gonna, Lower will beat him. No, Lower won't beat him. Let's be real, okay? If Lower can't fight Canelo and is running, but he don't run against showcase fights. He wasn't running against Ish Smith. Don't try to believe that bullshit because it's not true. Don't tell me that the ocean is made out of syrup because it's not true. You know what I mean? Well, I'm focusing on Triple G right now, but we're going to talk about a lot of fighters. But it seems like, and it's a mockery. I laugh at it. It seems like, well, and I'm going to tell you, blacks, you guys, you come off as racist, and whites can come off as racist too, and I get that. But when this is what I see. I see, non-black fans, for the most part, I'm generalizing, okay? It's not true for everybody, but non-black fans give credit to Triple G for what he's done. Black fans are putting all, their hope into Laura. If Laura don't get it done, Andre Ward, you should be embarrassed to be an Andre Ward fan. The very fact that he hasn't fought the gal and hasn't been active and is cherry picking now. I mean, you should have known when he refused to move up to fight Chad Dawson what he's made of. And then you're gonna say your calling card is, well, Triple G's a bitch because he offered to fight Froch and Chavez at 168 but not Ward. Well, no, that's not how it went down. Okay? How it went down was, and I know this has been stuffed down people's throat, and why they refuse to acknowledge it, I have no idea. Tom Lawfer offered Andre Ward's people 164, 50-50. There's supposed to be a counter offer. Ward's people are supposed to come back and say, no, 168. Tom Lawfer counter offers that, saying, okay, that's fine, 168, 60-40. Done deal, sealed and delivered. That's how you negotiate. You understand? Do you not understand that? Anyway, I think it's a joke that everybody's jumping on Ward's in Ward's camp, thinking that he's the one to end the Triple G legacy. Ward needs to fight the gal. He should fight the gal. He ain't ready for no Kovalev fight. His plan of attack of fighting two bums before Kovalev, come on, do you agree with that? Would you, if he was your son, would you allow them to do that in preparation for Kovalev? He ain't fighting Kovalev. I promise he's gonna come up with an injury or something. And this has nothing to do with black white. This has to do with who he is as a fighter. Anyway, let's move on. I'm a Pacquiao fan. I'm a huge Pacquiao fan. Matter of fact, that's what brought me back to boxing. I was a Tyson fan. I was not watching boxing, was more watching the other three major sports. I'm not including hockey being the fourth. But that whole reign with Oscar De La Hoya, I didn't watch boxing. But I got back into boxing because of Pacquiao. Pacquiao's done great things in the sport. But he got that vicious knockout to Marquez. I chalk that up to a little bit being over aggressive, pissed off, and he went for the victory, and he got caught. That's what happened. He got caught. And it was a vicious knockout. One of the most vicious knockouts in boxing history. No disputing that. Then he fights Mayweather. I can't make excuses for Pacquiao. I think he hurt his shoulder during the fight. But is that Mayweather's fault? No. We knew what we were getting on Mayweather, regardless of how he was saying that he was going to take it to Pacquiao. Just like he said in the last few fights, you're going to see a different Mayweather. It's all bullshit. But there's no refute. Mayweather beat him. Straight up. So technically, Mayweather's the better fighter. I have no problem acknowledging that. None. It doesn't make me feel any worse as a fan of Pacquiao. I still like Pacquiao. I enjoyed watching his fights. They were an event for me. I really look forward to watching him fight. But I can't say he's better than Mayweather, because he lost to Mayweather, straight up. And I give Mayweather credit, even though I wish it would have been 5 years earlier. But that's out of my hands, and there's nothing we can do about that. The past is the past, you know. I didn't like the whole IV thing, but it still doesn't impact the outcome of the fight as far as Pacquiao lost. But it does tarnish Mayweather's legacy. He already tarnished his own legacy. Like, I say that I don't care about Mayweather so much. Like, I'm not a fanboy. But when you discuss him later on in life, or you and I are getting up in age, the whole fact that he fought in Vegas at the MGM for, what, 12 years straight, never went out of his comfort zone, made people wear the boxes that he was comfortable, the gloves that he was comfortable with, the ringside, picking the ref, the judges, all that shit, man, that USADA bullshit. That's facts. So I can't give him the kudos, you know, like I'd like to, but I will give him credit for being Pacquiao. Then I see these videos, like I saw this one video called The Holy Trinity, Kovalev, Gennady, and Lomachenko. I can't say Lomachenko's the best, because there's a lot of damn good fighters around his weight class. You got Rigodo, he's a fucking freak of nature, like his technique is on point. You got Walters, he's a freaking beast. Last fight he had trouble with weight, but he's a beast, and I really like Walters. And then Leo Santa Cruz opened my eyes. He's better than I thought he was, because we haven't really had a chance to see how good he is until his last fight. And you also got Gary Russell Jr. He seemed to improve from his loss and looked really good in his last fight. So it's real muddled. There's too many good fighters, and somebody's got to rise to the top. So I can't sit there, oh, Lomachenko's better than Walters. No, I can't do it. I just have to observe and see how it plays out. And that's good for boxing, you know. there's no refuting those 4 fighters down at that weight class, 122, 126, are fucking awesome. And unfortunately, we don't see that in a lot of weight classes. We kind of see it at 147. We don't see it at 160. We don't see it at 168. When Bandu Jack is one of the top fighters, 168, you know they got issues in that division. And we know he uses too, and has got caught using. But it just bothers me, the racism. I just stop with the... And then this one guy put out a video that he thinks HBO is stuffing Gennady down our throat because to promote his country, Kazakhstan, because of all the natural resources. Yeah, they have natural resources. They're just benefiting from the fact that Gennady's from there. But he wasn't thrown upon us. He was just fortunate to get out of his contract in Germany because the promotional company that had his rights also had all their money invested in, what the hell is his name? Felix Strom. And they knew that Strom and Gennady were in the same weight class and they couldn't make that fight. Or they could, it wasn't they couldn't, they just refused. But I just want all the hate to stop. They don't give credit to Kovalav. Dude, Kovalav, he goes to the guy's backyard and beats their ass. And yeah, he's done some things, like he wore a Black Monkey t-shirt and in reference to Donna Stevenson, but Stevenson's a bitch. He's a bitch, straight up. He has ducked that fight, and he knows time's ticking. Dude, he's up there in age. What is Stevenson, 37, 38? He's up there, man. His time's ticking. I'm not saying he's a bad fighter, but he don't believe in himself, or he took the Kovalav fight. That's the difference between a Bernard Hopkins and Stevenson, right? Bernard Hopkins, at 50 years old, or 40, it didn't matter. It doesn't change his mindset. He considers himself the man. He considers himself a work of greatness, and he's willing to put that up against anybody. And that should be the mentality of fighters. So it's kind of disappointing when I see like Canelo, I want to do 155, fight Triple. Ultimately, I think he'll change his mind and he'll take the fight, because it's all about who's on your resume, who you fought, that creates your legacy. But back to all this racism, it's got to stop. It's not gonna. There's nothing I can say. There's nothing you can say that's gonna change it. Because when people are biased and they're racist, their ears are only open to comments and commentary that satisfies what they think. They're not gonna listen. Like, when I invest in a company, I listen to the pros and I listen to the cons, and I give the negatives equal footing with the positives, and then I make a decision. That's how you got to be with boxing, man. You can't just say, "Oh, Triple G's ducking Ward." No, you got to dig deeper, man. You know, I get a headache just thinking about it. I've got a headache right now just doing this video. Because it's ridiculous, man. I mean, who else we got out there? Well, let's go back to Ward, right? All right, a lot of black people love Ward. He's like their last line of defense. But you guys shouldn't think like that. If he's performing, back the man. But if he's not performing, don't back him. He didn't fight DeGale. I don't know why. It's a big money fight. It would have to be in the UK. It'd have to be. The money, you know what I mean? It makes economic sense. Why Ward doesn't want to do that? Why Ward doesn't respond to all the criticism coming from DeGale's camp? I don't know. To me, it looks like a duck. But if I'm going to fight, you know, I make this promise to HBO. And Ward's not a guy for promises. He breaks his promises. Look at the 3-fight contract with Guzin. He's not a man of his word, dude. When you sign on the dotted line, if you didn't read the contract or you didn't have your your legal team look at the contract, but you signed it, that's on you. You gotta be accountable. So that put a bad taste in my mouth. But if I was Ward and I really, truly wanted Kovala, and I don't see him having a chance in hell against Kovala, but if I wanted Kovala, dude, I'm fighting Gonzalez, who's a great fighter. He beat Pascal, that Cuban fighter. He showed real skills, and it's unfortunate, but he got the short end of the stick. He should fight Beterbiev. Kovalev should fight Beterbiev. I hate seeing Kovalev fight Pascal again. Why? What's there to prove? You know? And then Stevenson's just ducking completely. He's off the grid, you know? Oh, and racism. Just to show you how I think. Dude, if we're debating or we're talking and throwing ideas around, we're talking, it's centered on Terrence Crawford. There's nothing you can say to me if you're like a white fan, white fan, black fan. As of right now, I back Terrence Crawford left and right. I love his fights. I love what he did against Gamboa. You know, from that point on, I really felt, dude, nobody's beating this guy, you know? I'm white, man. Look at him. Hello. I love Terrence Crawford. I think he's I really want to see him live, you know? I want to see him live. I'm a big Shawn Porter fan. Big Shawn Porter fan. I get kind of frustrated, just like with Pacquiao. I get frustrated when I see things that are obvious. Not like I see little things that maybe the casual would miss, but I see things that are obvious, and I hate that Porter smothers his punches. I really wish he could put on the brakes and control distance so he can get full maximum impact on his punches. But he I don't know, he kind of just steamrolls in there and then takes the steam off his punches, you know? But there's always hope. And Shawn Porter is a hell of a guy. Really, really good person, you can tell. I like Keith one-time Thurman. I felt really bad that he was the mandatory for Mayweather's belt and sat there on the sidelines and was never given a chance. I don't know, guys. Just stop the racism, dude. Give props where props are due. And if somebody's not doing what they're supposed to be doing, you got to call them out on it. Andre Ward is not taking care of business. He's an afterthought. You know, he doesn't start talking about Triple G until after Triple G signs a fight with Lemieux. Come on, man. Laura's talking all this smack, but Laura, we look at you, you're two different people when you're in showcase fights and you're against a real fighter. And I really think the dude's fragile around his waistband. He's got such a small waistline. I don't know, maybe it really hurts him. That's why he's ducking and dodging and stuff. But when it's a guy that he feels is inferior to him, oh, he's in there in the pocket trading. Come on, dudes. Stop with the racism. Root for fighters based on their merit and potential. Root for your Errol Spence and Keith Thurmans of the world. Knock on Adrian Broner when warranted. You know, the shit he does. And he's in Cincinnati, and it allows me to go watch a lot of fights because he fights there at US Bank. You step up every time and he fucking gets smashed. And you know what his problem is he don't engage until it's too late in the fight. I mean, come on, don't make excuses for your fighters. You call it like it is. If you call it like it is, you'll see that they're good regardless of the color of their skin. And Triple G and Kovalev are good, and everybody should accept that. Terrence Crawford is good, and everybody needs to accept that. Mayweather is good. When I say good, I'm talking great. Mayweather's good because nobody's beat him, you know? don't be. I call his fans flomos, but I still give the man props, you know. And I really think that he's a product of what he does, you know, with the internet, you know, and the all access. That really sells Mayweather. He's really smart about that, and taking the heel side and people paying for his fight. That's smart, man. A very smart businessman. Somebody in his camp taught him a long time ago the right way, and it worked out. Probably Al Heyman, but start calling and criticizing fighters for who they are, not because of their color skin. That's all I got. Thanks. Later.